The Zarine alliance was falling apart. Once it ruled dozens of systems, now its halls were nearly empty. Ambassadors from member species had fled. Fleets were gone. Border worlds had surrendered without a fight. The galaxy no longer asked if Earth would win, it asked how far Earth would go. And still, the humans said nothing. Not a single speech, not a single demand, just silence and ships. Inside the Zarin capital, General Urox paced the floor. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands shaking. There, wiping us out, system by system, he roared. One of the few remaining ministers said softly, "We must offer peace. Apologize. Beg if we must." Urox slammed his fist against the table. "We are warriors," another replied. "We were fools." 3 Zarin envoys were sent. To Earth their mission was simple: surrender. They carried official letters, promises, gifts, entire planets. Apologies written in 12 galactic languages. They even offered to build a memorial for Ambassador Rourke in the center of their capital. They landed on Earth's diplomatic station, hands raised in peace. The humans welcomed them politely, no weapons drawn. No anger shown. They listened, they nodded, and then said nothing. The envoys were told, "Your request will be considered." Then they were returned to their ship. No deal, no agreement. No forgiveness, just delay, a silence more terrifying. Then war, back on the vengeance of Terra. Admiral Cortez read the surrender proposal. Captain Halder stood nearby. "They're offering everything," he said. "They even offered to disband their military." Cortez's face was still. "They want peace now. Now that they're afraid." Halder nodded. "Should we accept it?" Cortez looked up at the stars. "They executed our envoy on live feed. They made it a show. They thought we'd break, that we'd run." She turned away from the screen. "Now they run." Above the Zarine capital world, the sky darkened, not from clouds, but from ships. Human dreadnoughts, carriers, destroyers, the Wrath Corps. Fleet had arrived, more than 200 warships, the largest human force ever gathered. Outside Earth's solar system, they didn't fire right away. They simply hovered, watching, waiting. The galaxy held its breath. Inside the Zarin palace, panic filled every hall. Open communication lines, a minister shouted. "Offer them more," cried another. But there was no reply, just a signal. Message incoming. They expected a voice. Instead, video played. It showed Ambassador Rourke, his face bruised, his hands bound. His final words: "If they betray us, show them who we are." Then the screen went black and was replaced with another message. "You were warned." Admiral Cortez gave the final order: "Begin orbital bombardment." The sky lit up. Terran warships opened fire not on civilians, but on every Zarin military site, spaceport, and command base. No warning shots, no second chances. The capitals, proud towers, the same place where Rourke once stood, now crumbled under the thunder of retribution. Zarin generals tried to flee. Some begged, some. Others took their own lives, refusing to face the judgment they knew was coming. The streets burned, and above, the Terran flag blinked into orbit, broadcast on every frequency. On Galnet, footage of the bombardment played non-stop. Aliens across the galaxy watched with wide eyes. They surrendered. But Earth didn't stop. Is this revenge or justice? No one could answer. Only Earth could. But Earth remained quiet, on a peaceful moon. Far from the war, an old alien scholar said to his students, "Remember this lesson, children. Never mistake human silence for weakness. Their silence is what comes before the fire." Inside the Terran flagship, Captain Halder looked at the screen. "Sir, Zarin Council is gone. Their surrender is now meaningless." Cortez nodded. "Good. Let them know." One final message was sent from Earth. Simple, final. The debt is paid. The war was over. But the galaxy would never forget. Where once Earth had been ignored, now it was respected. Where once it was feared, now it was untouchable. Not because of its weapons, but because of how far it went to honor one man. In the ashes of the Zarin capital, a single statue stood, a tall human figure, hands behind his back, eyes looking forward, Ambassador Rourke. At the base, a message carved in stone: "We came in peace. You answered with blood. So we answered in kind." The war was over. Zarin's space was silent. Their fleets were destroyed. Their worlds had surrendered. Their cities, once proud and shining, were now quiet ruins under Terran control. But Earth wasn't celebrating. There were no parades, no songs, only a cold, heavy silence, and a message that had echoed through every corner of the galaxy. "We came in peace. You answered with blood, so we answered in kind." Inside the Terran capital on Earth, leaders met in the High Command Chamber. Admiral Cortez stood at the center. "We've won," said one general. Another asked, "And now?" Cortez stared at the galaxy map. Zarin space was marked in black. "Now," she said slowly, "we decide what story the galaxy tells next." On Gelnet, opinions were divided. Some praised humanity. They honored their envoy. They kept their word. Others feared them. They didn't just fight. They ended an empire. But no one questioned their power, and no one dared challenge them again. Across alien worlds, Terran ambassadors were suddenly treated with extreme respect. In council chambers, their words were no longer interrupted. In negotiations, their demands were met with quick agreement. In border disputes, enemies surrendered before the first shot was fired. The galaxy had learned something very old and very human: don't start a fire unless you're ready for the blaze. In orbit above the shattered remains of Zarin's former capital, the Terran ship Judgment of Terra held its position. Inside the ship, Special Team was completing the final phase of Operation Wrath. They weren't soldiers. They were builders, engineers, architects, historians. They weren't there to destroy, they were there to remember. On the surface, crews worked day and night. They cleared the ruins where Ambassador Rourke had once stood. They rebuilt the platform where he had spoken of peace, and in its place, they built something the galaxy could never forget: a monument taller than any building, made from the remains of destroyed Zarin warships. At its top, the statue of Rourke stood tall, calm hands behind his back, looking at the stars. Beneath him, carved in over 70 alien languages, were the same words: "He asked for peace. You gave him death. Now the stars remember." The Galactic Council, once silent, finally sent a message to Earth. They didn't ask for punishment. They didn't offer blame. They simply said, "We acknowledge your strength and your loss." Earth replied with a single line: "May no envoy ever fall again." Years passed. The Zarin territory was split. Some systems were given to neutral planets. Others were turned into Terran protectorates, watched, not ruled. Earth never claimed the land for conquest. They only claimed justice and the galaxy. Remembered, in a classroom on a distant moon, a young alien asked his teacher, "Why? Don't people attack humans anymore?" The teacher smiled softly. "Because once someone did. Just once. And what happened?" The teacher pointed to a star in the sky. "Now that star burns a little less bright." Back on Earth, inside the private garden of the Peace Hall, Admiral Cortez visited a quiet stone bench. Beside it, flowers rested. A plaque read, "Ambassador Elijah Rourke, Peacemaker, Martyr." The voice that awakened a giant. Cortez sat quietly, remembering the man who once believed in peace, even with enemies. He didn't want this. She whispered. Captain Halder stood nearby. "No," he said, "but he trusted us to finish it the right way." And in the sky, just above Earth's orbit, a new Terran ship entered service, larger than any before it, stronger, faster. On its hull, one name was painted in bold silver letters: TSS Rourke's, a Nora ship not made for war. but for protection. A promise carved into the stars that said, "Never again." News of Veltrax Prime's fall spread faster than light. Galnet showed the black Terran flag waving over burning towers. Every channel replayed footage of human marines storming buildings. The galaxy watched in shock as one of the Zarin alliances. Strongest worlds fell in just 2 hours, and Earth still hadn't spoken. No public message, no peace talks, only fire. Inside the Zarin High Council chamber, panic had taken root. 13 species formed the Zarin alliance, once united by fear of the Deathworlders. Now, that fear had turned inward. They didn't send a fleet, one ambassador said. They sent ghosts. Another shouted, they took Veltrax like it was nothing. High Speaker Kuroth was missing, captured, or dead. Command was collapsing. Room filled with shouting. We must retaliate. No. We must beg for peace. Earth won't talk, then run. In the outer regions of the Alliance, cracks had already started to form. The Drovan species, once loyal to Zarin, pulled their fleets back from border patrols. Their leaders spoke on Live. Broadcast. We did not approve of Rourke's execution. We will not stand between Earth and justice. Another species, the Vari, quietly signed a secret agreement with Terran diplomats. They offered trade, peace, and information. Within days, Zarin began losing allies. Ships left formation. Fleets went dark. No one wanted to be Earth's next target on the human side. Admiral Cortez stood before her command council aboard the Vengeance of Terra. A hologram showed a galaxy map. Several systems flashed in red targets identified as hostile, but now, more systems were marked yellow. Those are former Zarin allies, said Captain Halder. They're surrendering without a fight. Some are even offering support. Cortez's face was cold. They're afraid. And what do we do with fear? Asked Halder. We use it, she replied, in deep space. Ghost Fleet Beta intercepted a transmission between 2 fleeing Zarin ships. It wasn't encrypted. One captain begged the other for help. Earth is everywhere. They see us even in the dark. We can't hide. The second replied in a shaking voice, Don't speak their name, just run. The Terran fleet never replied. They simply let the signal pass, a gift to fear. Back in the Zarin capital, desperate emergency meeting was held with the remaining alliance members. Only 7 of the 13 species showed up. The rest had either vanished or defected. General Urox, now acting leader, tried to speak firmly. We must unite. We must fight back. Earth can't stand against all of us. But his voice cracked. A diplomat from the Farron species stood. We told Kuroth not to kill the Envoy. We warned him. Speak like a coward, Urox barked. No, the Farron replied. I speak like someone who wants to live. Then he turned and walked out. 3 more followed him. In the halls of Human Command, Admiral Cortez met privately with Intelligence Officer Kara Lynn. Kara placed a data chip on the table, ma'am. We've confirmed it. Half of the Zarin Alliance is breaking away. Its factions are talking to us directly. Cortez didn't smile. She simply said, Good. Let them split. A broken enemy bleeds faster. Kara hesitated. And the civilians, ma'am? Some of the defecting species are afraid we'll still strike them. Cortez thought for a moment. Send them this message. We remember Rourke. But we know who pulled the knife and who just stood there. On Galnet, a new rumor spread like fire. Earth has a secret weapon. No one had seen it but destroyed stations with 0 debris left. Behind made people believe something terrible was coming. Some called it a myth. Others said it had a name, Ashbringer. Zarin leadership scrambled to explain, deny, and distract. But the fear only grew, in a dark Zarin bunker. General Urox held a private meeting with his remaining commanders. We attack Earth directly. He said, we strike hard and fast. They're bold now, but if we hit their home, they'll fall back. But if we miss, one asked, then we're dead anyway. The plan was set. A secret elite fleet, the Black Talons, be sent to Earth's outer defenses. Fast, quiet, brutal. It was their final gamble. They still believed humans could break. Back aboard the Vengeance of Terra, Captain Halder received intercepted Zarine plans. He read them slowly, then looked at Cortez. "They're coming for Earth." Cortez's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time we show them," she said. "Earth is not just a world. It's the heart of something ancient, something they should never have awakened." The stars looked quiet, but something terrible was moving through them. It wasn't listed on any galactic map. No trade route passed near it. No satellite scanned it. And yet, there it was. A Terran vessel, large as a city, shaped like a dagger. And blacker than space itself, known only to the highest Terran command by one name, Project Ashbringer, long ago. Earth had signed no treaty that limited weapons. While the rest of the galaxy built ships for patrol and defense, Earth built weapons to win wars. Ashbringer was the result of decades of fear, genius, and preparation. A dread weapon, legal in every Galactic Council's rulebook, because it didn't just destroy ships, it erased everything inside the command core of Ashbringer. Commander Ilya Strain sat in silence. She wore no medals, no bright uniform, just black armor with no insignia. Her crew called her the Ghost Captain. A signal blinked on her screen. Permission to activate. Target: Zarine Black Talon's fleet. She read it once, then replied, "Confirmed." Locking. Sequence engaged. Meanwhile, the elite Zarin fleet known as the Black Talons had entered human space. 15 top-class destroyers. Equipped with stealth drives and plasma torpedoes, their plan was to attack Earth's outer colonies fast. Brutal, then vanish. "We strike, then disappear," said their admiral. "Let the humans bleed for once." Their scanners picked up nothing. No enemy ships. No defenses. "We're clear," said one pilot. "Too clear," whispered another. Then, suddenly every ship's lights flickered. Inside the Black Talon flagship, alarms blared. Unknown. Energy spike. A tech officer yelled. "Power levels dropping. From where?" the admiral demanded. Everywhere came the terrified reply. "It's coming from behind the stars." And then they saw it. A massive black blade-shaped ship appeared. From nowhere, no lights, no signals, no life signs, and no sound. Just a name, blinking on their emergency broadcast feed. Ashbringer detected. The Zarin fleet opened fire. Every cannon. Every missile, but nothing hit. The Ashbringer didn't dodge. It didn't move fast. It simply absorbed the attacks like smoke hitting a mountain. Then it responded. Not with missiles, but with light. A silent white beam pulsed from its front core. It passed through space, through all 15 Zarin ships. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the ships began to fall apart quietly, like sand blown by wind. No explosions. No screams. Just total disintegration. By the time Galnet picked up the incident, the entire Black Talon fleet had vanished, as if it never existed. Back on the Vengeance of Terra, Admiral Cortez received the report. Zarin Black Talon fleet. Neutralized. Ashbringer successful. No survivors. Captain Halder read the final sensor data, ma'am. The beam left no debris. Nothing to bury. Nothing to study. Cortez nodded slowly. "They wanted to play gods with peace," she said. "Now they'll know what real judgment looks like." Word of the Ashbringer spread across the galaxy, fast, loud, and terrifying. Alien empires held emergency meetings. Some claimed it was a lie. Others swore they had seen it with their own eyes. It's a myth. It's real. It's death. Alien scientists asked, what kind of power could do this? But Earth gave no answer, in fact. They said nothing at all. And the silence was worse than threats. Inside the Zarin Council, total chaos had begun. Only 5 species remained in the Alliance. 3 others had left. 2 had surrendered to Earth. Admiral Urox threw his datapad across the table. "They used a forbidden weapon," one diplomat said. "And what did we use on Rourke?" "Mercy?" Urox shouted. "This is different." There, crossing every line. Another replied, "No, they're erasing the lines." Meanwhile, Galnet played a new transmission, humanvoice.com, cold. It wasn't a declaration of war. It was a recording of Rourke's final words broadcast across every major system. "If they betray us, show them who we are." And a second message followed, automated and direct. "This is Earth. We have answered. We will not stop." Entire alien colonies began to panic. Cargo ships refused to enter Zaren's space. Black. Markets boomed with fake, Terran-proof shields. But nothing could stop the fear. A child on a neutral world asked her mother, "Will the humans come here too?" Her mother whispered, "Only if someone makes them angry." Inside Ashbringer's bridge, Commander Elias sat alone, staring at stars. Her crew stayed silent, working like shadows. "Next target, ma'am," her pilot asked softly. She didn't blink. "Wherever justice is needed," she replied. The ship turned, the stars shifted, and death moved with it. It began without sound. No announcement, no warning. Just disappearances. A science station near the Zaren border went silent. Then 2 patrol ships lost contact. Next, a fuel depot exploded in the middle of the night. Surveillance footage showed nothing, just shadows, static, silence. Across the galaxy, people whispered, "Where are the humans? Why haven't they spoken? What are they planning?" But the Terran fleet was already on the move. Their ships were invisible. 2 regular scans. Hulls coated in black stealth alloys. Engines cooled to near-silent levels. Lights dimmed. Communications off. They didn't need to talk. They were already marching inside a Zaren war room. Admiral Zarek studied a glowing star map. Red icons marked the Zaren military zones. Blue dots showed civilian sectors. It all looked calm. But that calm was a lie. A young Zaren officer ran in, its eyes wide with fear. "Sir, Station 9 is gone?" Zarek frowned. "Malfunction."
Sir?
It was there, and then it wasn't. He zoomed the map in. The station was gone. No debris, no escape pods. Just an empty space where it once floated. Zurrik felt cold. "Find out who's responsible," he ordered. But in his heart, he already knew, far away, on the edge of deep space. The human supercarrier Judgment of Terra floated like a silent mountain. Inside, hundreds of Terran Marines prepared for their first strike. Captain Renhalder walked between the rows of armored soldiers. "You saw what they did," he said calmly. "You saw how they laughed after killing our envoy." Nobody spoke. Each Marine checked their weapon. Eyes sharp, silent rage boiling under the surface. "We are not here for conquest," Halder continued. "We are here for justice." He raised one hand, "and we will deliver it." The fleet split into 3 formations. Strike Fleet Alpha, assigned to destroy Zaren command bases near the Outer Ring. Ghost Fleet Beta, a stealth unit made to cut supply routes and vanish. Wrathcore, the main battle group holding dreadnoughts. And supercarriers headed for Veltrax Prime. Each formation moved like a phantom wave black. Massive and untraceable. They didn't answer hails, they didn't leave survivors. They just moved forward. On a distant colony, a young alien child pointed at the sky. "Mother, look, a falling star." But it wasn't a star. It was a Terran ship entering low orbit. Within minutes, the colony's defense tower exploded. The local governor tried to send a distress signal, but it was already too late before anyone could understand. What was happening, the humans had come and gone. Just like that. On Gaunet, rumors exploded. Entire planets are falling. They say the humans are using invisible ships. One dreadnought can wipe a fleet in 10 seconds. Zareen leaders tried to calm the public. "We are in control," they lied. "Earth will respond through proper channels." But nobody believed them, because Earth wasn't talking. Earth was marching in the capital city of Zaren's core world. High Speaker Kuroth stood before his war council. His voice was sharp and angry. "We need answers," he shouted. His aides trembled. "We've lost contact with 6 border worlds. Civilian transports are refusing to fly. Merchant guilds are fleeing our space. Where's the human ambassador? Where are their demands? A silence followed. They haven't made anyone, General said quietly. Kuroth froze. No demands. No message. It's just destruction. For the first time, fear touched his voice. They're not coming to negotiate. They're coming to end us. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Wrathcore fleet, Admiral Cortez stood on the bridge of the Vengeance of Terra. Her eyes stared forward, locked on a star chart. Next stop, Veltrax Prime, her navigator said. Cortez nodded. The place where it all started. Beside her, a communication officer looked nervous. Ma'am, still no reply from Zareen. High Command, we're not waiting, Cortez said. We already know what they did. She turned toward her officers. Make ready. The blackness of space. Dozens of human ships began charging their weapons. Plasma cores glowed. Missile silos opened. Drone swarms activated. Veltrax Prime, the same planet where Ambassador Rourke had been betrayed and executed, was now in sight, and the sky above it would never be the same again. Veltrax Prime was calm. The Golden City still stood. Hours still. Shone under twin suns, people walked in markets, drank at cafes, and ignored the growing fear spreading across the stars. Inside the Zarin command tower, High Speaker Kuroth sat on a throne-like chair, proud and relaxed. Let the humans try, he told his generals. Veltrax is ready. Our defenses are strong. But Kareth didn't know. Humanity was already here, high in orbit. Hidden behind the planet's small moon, the Terran supercarrier Vengeance of Terra floated in silence. All lights were dimmed. All weapons were locked and loaded. Inside, Admiral. Cortez stared at the planet on the screen. This is where they killed him, she said softly. This is where they lied. Captain Renhalder stood beside her, helmet in hand. Shall we begin, ma'am? Cortez nodded once. No speeches. No warnings. Drop the hammer. The order was given. Begin orbital assault. Veltrax's sky lit up. From the darkness of space, fire rained down. Precision orbital strikes hit key military sites. Defense towers, weapon silos, communication centers.
One by one.
They exploded in giant fireballs. The golden towers of the city shook under the force. Screams filled the air. Kuroth's face turned pale as his command. Room went dark. What's happening? An officer shouted, Our orbital defenses are offline. Shields are down. Who's attacking? No signals, no demands. But the ships are Terran. A blast hit the ground near the command tower, sending shockwaves through the floor. There. Here, someone whispered. Down below, Terran drop pods streaked through the sky like comets. Hundreds of them. Each one carrying human marines, fully armored, armed with next-gen weapons. The pods slammed into the ground with terrifying precision. Doors exploded open, and out came death. The human marines moved like machines. Silent, fast, deadly. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. Every Zarin guard that stood in their way was neutralized in seconds. Plasma blasts, concussion rounds, and shock grenades filled the air. The streets turned into war zones. Civilians ran in terror. Some Zareen soldiers dropped there, weapons, and surrendered without a fight they had never seen. Death worlders up close before. Now they understood. Captain Renhalder laid the charge toward the Zarin command tower. A massive metal gate blocked the path. Blow it, he ordered. Seconds later, a shaped explosive ripped the door apart. Smoke and fire filled the hallway as Terran Marines stormed inside. The final room held High Speaker Kuroth and 3 generals. They tried to run. They didn't make it. Kuroth was dragged to his knees, face covered in dust and blood. His silver-blue robes were torn. Captain Halder stood in front of him. You killed Ambassador Rourke. Kuroth tried to smile. He was weak. Humans talk peace, but you're just beasts in armor. Haldar didn't reply, tapped his wrist. A small drone floated into the room and projected Rourke's final message. If they betray us, show them who we are. Karath's face twisted in fear. Wait. We can still negotiate. Halder shook his head. You had your chance. Outside, the city burned. Terran Marines raised a black flag with the Terran Eagle symbol on top of the central plaza, Veltrax. Prime had fallen in less than 2 hours. The galaxy watched in silence. On Gelnet, the news broke. Veltrax destroyed. Zuran leaders captured. Terran strike unmatched. No warning, no speech, just fire. Billions watched replay videos of human drop pods landing. Of Zaran soldiers throwing down weapons. Of the Terran flag waving in the smoke. People across alien worlds felt something they hadn't felt toward humans before. Fear. Back aboard the Vengeance of Terra, Admiral Cortez stood in the command room. A comms officer turned to her. The operation is complete. Veltrax is under full Terran control. Cortez nodded. Send the message. The officer typed in a short, clear transmission to the entire Zareen Alliance. This is just the beginning. On the Zareen capital world, the council members watched in horror. Veltrax is gone, one asked. Another shouted, we had 10,000 troops there. Didn't matter, someone else whispered. They came, they burned, and they left. No one standing. Silence followed. And for the first time, Zareen leadership realized something terrifying. They were not at war with a nation.
Oh.
They were at war with a wounded giant, and that giant had just taken its first step. Ambassador Rourke stood at the edge of the landing ramp, looking at the golden city of Veltrax Prime. The sky was soft blue. Alien banners flew in the wind. Crowds waited behind clear energy shields. Cameras hovered in the air, broadcasting everything. Live to the galaxy. Today was supposed to be history. The first humans are in peace treaty. After 10 years of small conflicts, misunderstandings, and standoffs, the galaxy was finally getting tired of war.
Ow.
People needed peace, and Earth had agreed to lead the way. Rourke wore no armor. No guards stood beside him. His hands were empty, to show trust. Behind him, his transport ship waited silently. The Zaran delegation approached. Their leader, High Speaker Karath, had 4 arms and silver-blue skin. He bowed slightly, a cold gesture of respect. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. Welcome, Ambassador Rourke, Karath said in a calm voice. The treaty awaits. Rourke nodded. Then let's make peace that lasts. The crowd cheered. Galnet, the galaxy's biggest network, showed. The scene across 1,000 worlds. Billions watched, hoping, wishing, but something felt wrong. Inside the grand peace hall, everything was perfect on the surface. The hall was wide and bright, made of white marble and glowing crystal. Treaty was placed on a glass table. 2 pens waited. Rourke walked forward. His boots echoed. His eyes scanned the room. Why are there so many guards? Zareen soldiers lined the walls, holding plasma spears. Rourke tried not to stare at them, but his instincts whispered warnings. Karath walked beside him. We thank Earth for trusting us, he said softly. Rourke replied, and we thank the Zaran for making peace possible. They reached the table. Rourke reached for the pen. Suddenly the lights dimmed. Doors behind him slammed shut. The guards stepped forward. What is this? Rourke asked, turning quickly. Karath's voice changed. No longer soft. This is justice, Deathworlder. Before Rourke could move, 4 guards grabbed him. One struck him in the face. He fell to the floor, blood dripping from his nose. This is a message, Karath continued, now speaking to the camera drones. To Earth, to the galaxy. Rourke struggled, but the guards held him tight. Karath raised his hand. Your people think they are strong, that they can walk into our space and make demands. No more. A plasma blade was activated. Its light hummed close to Rourke's face. This Envoy is the first, Karath said. Let his death be the warning. The camera feed suddenly cut off. Across the galaxy, screens went black. Silence filled homes, stations, starships. Earth's embassies tried to contact Veltrax Prime. No response. The Terran High Command watched the cut feed frozen, shocked. Then, angry, back on Earth. Admiral Nyla Cortez stood inside the Terran War Council room. Her face was tight, her hands clenched behind her back. He trusted them, she said quietly. He went alone. He believed in peace. General Malik, sitting beside her, slammed his hand on the table. They planned this. They used the treaty. As bait, Cortez nodded once. And let's remind them who we are. But what will the galaxy say? Another officer asked. This was supposed to be peace. Cortez's eyes were cold. Galaxy watched him die. Now they'll watch us answer. 3 hours later, a secret Terran probe hiding near Veltrax sent a transmission. It showed the last moments of Rourke, tied, beaten, and finally executed in a dark chamber. His final words, spoken through bloodied lips, were, "If they betray us, show them who we are." The room fell silent again. Those words echoed inside the hearts of every human soldier, captain, and citizen who saw the footage. Across Earth, the colonies, and the outer stations, anger burned. This wasn't just war now, it was something deeper. On Veltrax Prime, Kurov stood before his people. They cheered. They thought they had one. That humans would cry, retreat, or beg. But far above their skies, hidden in the dark side of the moon, 5 human warships had already entered silent orbit. The commander of the stealth fleet, Captain Lyra Voss, watched her screen as Earth's signal came in. It was short. Stand by for vengeance. Like no further orders, no speeches. Just the beginning. The galaxy waited. After the live broadcast of Ambassador Rourke's death was cut off, silence followed. Us. No statement came from Earth. No war declaration. No threats. Nothing. And that scared the galaxy more than any warship. The Zarin Alliance sent messages to Earth, mocking proud messages. Where are your words now, humans? Your envoy is dead. Submit or suffer the same. But Earth didn't. Reply, not one human leader appeared on Galnet. No generals. No diplomats. No ships moved, at least, not where the galaxy could see. High Speaker Karoth sat in his war room surrounded by his officers. He smiled as he watched news channels spin. The story, they're weak, he said. Soft inside. They won't risk full war? An aide asked, should we increase border security? Karoth laughed. Why? They're frozen, afraid. But deep inside, he felt something. Off. That silence was not surrender, was waiting. The kind of silence that came before a thunderstorm. Back on Earth, inside Terran Military Command, the room was filled with cold fury. Admiral Nyla Cortez stood before the High Council. Screens showed images of Rourke's final moments. His body, his broken face, his final words. If they betray us, show them who we are. The council was silent. Then Cortez spoke. We will honor him. Not with words, but with action. A deep space operative entered and placed a data crystal on the table. This came from one of our shadow spies on Veltrax, he said. Cortez inserted it into the main display. The hologram flickered to life. It showed the hidden chamber. Blood on the floor, the guards laughing. Rourke's body. But more than that. Showed who was in the room. Zareen, generals, advisors, nobles. Every one of them responsible. They planned it, Cortez said. This wasn't just an attack. This was a performance. And now, she paused, we return the favor. A quiet order was given across all human fleets. Initiate shadow protocols. In deep space, hundreds of Terran warships began to change. Of course, engines ran cold to avoid detection. Signals were cut. Weapons were armed in silence, from the outer colonies to the distant rings of Titan. One word spread like wildfire. The envoy is dead. And with it came another sentence. Earth will not forgive. Admiral Cortez walked into a sealed hangar. Inside stood the towering form of the Dreadnought. Vengeance of Terra. A ship made for peacekeeping but built to end wars. The crew stood at attention as she entered. You all saw what happened, Cortez said. You know what must come next. Captain. Renhalder stepped forward. Do we wait for official war orders? Cortez shook her head. We wait for nothing. On the outer edges of known space, a small mining station floated near an asteroid belt. It belonged to the Zarin Alliance, a boring, quiet place that changed when the stars blinked. The station's radar operator stared at his screen. What? What is that? The distance? A shape moved, massive, black, silent, then another, and another. One of the miners walked outside and looked up. The twin suns of the system were dimmed, blocked by something huge. A Terran dread carrier. No message. No demands. Just the quiet presence of destruction. On the Zarin news channels, anchors laughed. Still no answer from Earth? Looks like the Deathworlders are too scared to fight. But then a report arrived. A patrol station had gone dark. No response. All crew missing. Hours later, 3 more outposts vanished. Zarin Command tried. 2 jammed signals, but messages still got out, whispers of human ships in the shadows. Entire convoys gone without a trace. A merchant pilot sent one last message before his signal ended. They're here. We didn't see them coming. They don't talk. The transmission ended. In the Zarin High Council chamber, panic began. These are attacks. One general shouted. Where are our allies? Where's the Galactic Council? Another answered, they're watching, but they won't move. No one wants to fight humans. They won't stop a junior. Officer whispered, they're just getting started. Kareth stood up. They dare sneak around like cowards, then let them face us head on. But even he felt it now. This was not panic from Earth. This was control. Calculated. Cold. Human. At the Terran Fleet Command, Admiral Cortez received a single encoded message. From deep space, it came from Captain Halder. Fleet is in position, awaiting your signal. Losa, she looked out the window at the stars. They wanted a message, she said. Let's give them one. She typed one line. Begin.